It's Wednesday. You know what that means. It is Wednesday, which means it is time for a new episode of Kings This Week. My name is Jordan Kiss, and the Kings coming off their first home win of the season on Saturday against Langley. We'll get into that very shortly with our weekend recap. Of course, we'll have to preview this weekend ahead for the Kings as they'll start to play 5 straight games on the road with 3 games this weekend on the lower mainland. But before we can get to those 3, let's talk about the last 2 with our weekend recap. Now on Friday, the Kings returned home after 4 straight games on the road as they started a doubleheader with the Langley Rivermen. The Kings coming off a big 2-1 win against Trail on Saturday, while the Rivermen were coming off their first 2 wins of the season with 2 victories and a shootout at home ice the weekend prior. And this would be a very exciting game. We'd be scoreless through the first 2 periods in this game. It wasn't for the faint of heart for the Kings as they had multiple breakaways with a chance to open the scoring, including this one from Cardinal McNarland early on in the second period, going between the legs to try to beat Ajit Gandara, but he was denied as Gandara was a brick wall in the Langley net. Now the scoring wouldn't start until the third period, and it'll be pretty early on in the third period. Keaton Oakley going down the left wing, able to put one over the glove of Kyle Metzett for his second of the season to give the Rivermen the 1-0 lead. Then Oakley would score his second of the game on the power play at 8:53. Tanner at 2 with the wrist shot. Missed the net, ricocheted off the end wall right to Oakley at the left side. He would bury it to give the Rivermen the 2-goal lead. They would add one more later on in the third period on a power play. Once again, Luke Monroe with the wrist shot, his 4th of the season, as the Rivermen were victorious in this one by a score of 3-0. Kings continued the strong play from their game against Trail, but just were unable to solve Ajit Gandara, who made 40 saves in net for the Rivermen as he picked up his first shutout of the season. Also, the power play for the Kings, a talking point about this one, going 0 for 6 on the man advantage, including a 5-on-3 power play in the second period. But now the Kings will look to rebound with another game against the Rivermen on Saturday. Now on Saturday, these 2 teams would do battle once again, and it was the Rivermen continuing right where they left off on Friday with an early goal on Saturday, just 3 minutes and 30 seconds in. Nick Messina, his second of the season on the 2-on-1 to give Langley the 1-0 lead. Now the Kings would tie it midway through the first period on the power play. Jack Blanchett, his 3rd of the year, with a one-timer from the right circle. We've seen that before at the showcase against Salmon Arm. And then they would take the lead 2-1, 15-18 in. Casey Yaman, his 1st of the season, the wrist shot from the point off 2 Langley players and into the back of the net. And on that goal, Noah Ayer would pick up his first assist in the BCHL, winning the face-off that set up the play. Now the Rivermen would tie it in the final minute of the opening period. Tyler Chan putting it into the open net for his 4th of the season as we were tied 2-2 after 1 period. Now, in the second period, there would be no scoring, but there would be a lot of rush stuff. It started with a hit on Keaton Oakley in the corner boards. Caleb Bentham, the one that initiated that hit, he would receive a 2-minute check-in from behind penalty, along with a game misconduct, as the Kings would be down to 5 defensemen the rest of the game. And this ignited a little heat between these 2 squads as they would now then combine for 52 penalty minutes in that second period alone, as we remain tied 2-2 going into the third period. Now in the third period, the Kings would get off to the very quick start. 24 seconds in, Cam Simons would try for the cross-ice pass. It would hit off a Langley player. It would go right to Will Jones, who would snipe at top corner for his first goal in the BCHL to give the Kings the 3-2 lead. Now, shortly after, Tanner at 2 would hit Marcus Deshevsky along the end boards. Carter Cocker did not appreciate that hit. He went after Tanner at 2. He would drop the gloves with a 2, but it was a 2 did not oblige the fight as Cochran was assessed the 5-minute major and a game misconduct as the Kings were now down 2 players, and it resulted in a 5-minute major power play for the Langley Rivermen, and they would make quick work early on that power play. Just 6 seconds in, Andrei Kovacevic with a shot from the right circle. It'll be deflected in front by Vitaly Levy for his 6th of the year to tie the game 3-3, and that awoken something in the Kings as they bared down to not allow another scoring opportunity on that 5-minute major power play, as they would kill the rest of it off and gain some momentum for later on in the third period as they would then take the lead. Parker Lalonde, his 4th of the season, with the wrist shot going past Tage Gill to put the Kings in front 4-3. Now they would extend that lead to 2. Anthony Lucarelli, his second of the season, a great play here. He would try to pass off to Cam Simons. It would hit off the Langley player, go right back to Lucarelli. He would take it to the net, make a great move in tight to score and to put the Kings in front by 2. Now they would finish the job off with the empty netter, Brandon Toy, his second of the season, as the Kings win 6-3 as they pick up their first home win of the season. Kings now with a record of 4-1 on the season as they get ready to play their next 5 games on the road, and they'll start this weekend with their first 3-3 of the season with a 3-game swing in the Lower Mainland. It'll get started this Friday in Surrey, the same place that saw the Kings season end last year with a loss in the last game of the regular season to boot them out of the playoffs as they look to bring good vibes back to the South Surrey Arena. The Kings were able to win 1 game there last year. It was their lone win against the Eagles as they went 1-3 against Surrey last year. Now the Eagles coming into this one with a very hot start to the season, a record of 10-2, second place in the Coastal Conference. Their 2 losses have come against the West Kelowna Warriors and the Nanaimo Clippers, 2 very good teams, as the Eagles have been able to feast off on the teams below them in their standings. So it's going to be a very tough test for the Kings. Of course, a couple of former Kings on the Surrey Eagles as well, including Ethan Reisterer, who played with the team last year. So a familiar face on the other side will hopefully motivate this Kings team to put in a good performance. The game will start at 7 o'clock from the South Surrey Arena. On Saturday, the Kings will then head into Coquitlam for their 3rd meeting of the season against the Express. The Express taking the first 2 meetings of the season series here at Hat Parker Arena, as the Kings will look to head into the train station to return the favor. The Express are currently 5-2 on the season, 4th place in the Coastal Conference, as they've just been playing their second home game back after spending the last month of the season on the road. That game will be at 7 o'clock. And on Sunday, the Kings will wrap up their mainland swing with another game against the Langley Rivermen. This time it will be in their building with a 2:30 puck shot from the Lodge at the George Preston Rec Center. So the Kings with 3 games on the road this weekend, but 2 more on the road next weekend with stops in Salmon Arm and Chilliwack. Then when they return home the weekend after, they'll kick off an 8-game homestand with 2 games against the Victoria Grizzlies. That is November 18th and 19th. It is a 7 o'clock start on the 18th, a 5 o'clock start on the 19th, and it's a very special weekend as it's going to be Parents Weekend here at the HAP, as the players' parents will be in attendance to cheer on the boys live and in person. And we want to pack the HAP that weekend. Show the Kings parents what Powell River hockey is all about. Show them what Kings hockey is all about. So be sure to get your tickets online for the November 18th and 19th at tickets.powellriverkings.com. And that will wrap up another episode of Kings This Week. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Kings on the road for 3 games this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It gets going Friday, 7 o'clock from the South Surrey Arena as the Kings take on the 10-2 Surrey Eagles for the first time this season. Join me for the pregame show starting at 6:45 on the Kings Broadcast Network, BCHL TV, and Mixlr for all the action this weekend, as the Kings will look to continue on rolling here and pick up a couple big wins on the road. So until next time, my name is Jordan Kiss. Go Kings, go.